welcome to the Monday, December 2nd meeting of the Mayor and Board of Trustees of the Village of Flossmoor. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend. Just a few news notes for you before we get started, or a few reminders. This meeting is being streamed via Zoom for the convenience of those at home. Also, when it's time for public comment, I'll call folks from the list for public comment, and we ask that you please approach the podium and state your name and address. Act with decorum, direct your public comment to the public body at large and not a single member of staff. And then also limit your speaking time to 5 minutes per person for a total public comment time of 30 minutes. The time is 7:32. Clerk will gather, which please call the roll.
Trustee Bradley Scott. Trustee Daggett. Trustee Driscoll. Trustee Lofton. Trustee Mitros. He is absent. Trustee Mustafa. Okay. And Mayor Nelson.
Present. Thank you so much. We have a quorum. First up, we have a recognition of the participants of the 2024 Citizens Police Academy. And to recognize these fine neighbors, I have our acting police chief, Chief Taylor. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
I'll hand out the certificate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the board, and everyone that's here tonight. The standing goal of the Flossmoor Police Department is to strengthen our relationships and partnerships with all community stakeholders. One of the myriad ways we have worked to do this is by conducting Citizens Police Academy classes. The CPA is an educational and informative program that allows residents the opportunity to learn about the issues that affect law enforcement efforts in the village of Flossmoor. It is also designed to create a better understanding, communication, and partnership between Flossmoor residents, business owners, and the police through education and interaction. This year's 10-week class began on August 28, 2024, and ended October 30th. And a bonus voluntary class with training in CPR and trauma response was held on November 6, 2024. The classes were from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. every Wednesday night. The class attendees were provided with a wide array of law enforcement topics presented by subject matter experts from the FPD, the Illinois State Police, the Cook County Sheriff's Office, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office, the South Chicago Heights PD, the Madison PD, and a retired officer from the Homewood PD. We also got a chance to go to our ECOM 911 Dispatch Center, which included a tour of the facility after being presented by our very own records clerk, Penny Watkins. So I believe this CPA class has accomplished its goal of educating our residents about the FPD, law enforcement, and providing officers and residents the opportunity to forge and strengthen relationships that are crucial in our community policing efforts aimed at maintaining and improving Flossmoor's standing as one of the safest villages in the Chicagoland area. So we thank all of the state, county, local, and FPD officers and personnel who assisted us with this class. In closing, I would like to present our 2024 CPA attendees with their certificates of completion. At this time, I'll call Mr. Levy and Commander Phillips to assist Mayor Nelson in presenting these certificates to our attendees. Commander Phillips, Officer Levy, will be very instrumental in the production of this class, along with all of our command staff, Sergeant Tenza, Sergeant Merkel, Sergeant King, Detectives, Detective Weaver, Officer Mayhew as well. Just about everybody we had on our department of this class. So, without further ado, Miss Evelyn Austin is the first one. I don't believe she's here in the kingdom, but we'll have someone accept her certificate on her behalf. Mr. Eric Crump. John Jones. Philip Leon Thompson. Louisa Miracle. Mark Matthewson. Barbara Colby. Ms. Jackie Ricketts. Mr. Percy Scott. Leland Wilkerson. And Ms. Felicia Williams. We thank you so much. We enjoyed this class. We'll continue to do so. And good evening. Thank you.
The chair of our Community Relations Commission is Philip William Thompson, and how can I say no fast so you can say something really fast?
I just want to say to our wonderful police department, if you have not taken this class, please sign up whenever they offer it again. It was so informational. The thing that surprised me the most was the amount of knowledge that our police department has. It is incredible. And I really encourage everyone to be a participant. But the next thing I really want to say also is thank you to our village leadership for supporting the recommendation of the Community Relations Commission to bring back this wonderful and exciting and learning opportunity for our village. Thank you.
Are you going to do a
Oh, you got to get in the picture.
Ready, guys? 1, 2, 3.
All right, thank you. Next up, I have citizens present wishing to address the board, and first I have Miss Andrea Berry. Welcome.
Good evening, Andrea Berry speaking as a 37-year constituent of Flossmoor. I'd like to share with the board excerpts from an article. It's in 2 parts due to time constraints. It's an article posted by an advocacy organization, FIRE, Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. The article, First Amendment Protections for Public Comment at Government Meetings. When government bodies establish public comment periods, they must adhere to fundamental First Amendment principles. They cannot shut down or silence speakers simply because they offer a disfavored viewpoint or criticize government officials. By David L. Hudson, Jr., Associate Professor of Law at Belmont University. When city councils, school boards, and other governmental bodies hold public hearings, they often allocate time for public comment. During this time, members of the public may address government officials and speak on topics of public concern. Frequently, these sessions occur with little to no drama. However, when government officials retaliate against or silence speakers at public meetings based on the content of their speech, significant First Amendment implications arise. Since FIRE expanded its mission to include off-campus free speech advocacy in 2022, we've seen numerous instances of government officials silencing speakers during public comment periods. Sometimes they eject speakers from meetings or even have them arrested. Government officials often try to justify these actions by claiming speakers made abusive or demeaning comments or launched personal attacks on public officials. But these justifications are often a pretext to silence or shut down speakers simply because they are critical of government officials or offer a viewpoint that officials dislike. The First Amendment principles of public comment periods. Perhaps the most important fundamental of all First Amendment free speech principles is that individuals have a right to speak at public meetings, which includes free speech right to criticize the government. The U.S. Supreme Court explained this core democratic principle in New York Times Company versus Sullivan, 1964. Writing of our profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues should be uninhibited, robust, wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials. Second, the First Amendment prohibits government officials from silencing speakers based on their point of view. This is called viewpoint discrimination in First Amendment law. When the government discriminates against viewpoints, it is distorting the marketplace of ideas and impeding free trade in ideas by allowing the expression of some ideas, but not others. Sometimes government officials camouflage viewpoint discrimination by contending they are simply protecting the public from offensive or disruptive speech. But as the U.S. Supreme Court made clear in Mattel versus Tam 2017, giving offense is a viewpoint. During public comment periods, government officials must tolerate viewpoints they disagree with or dislike. Such is the nature of being a public official in a robust democracy. The court memorably wrote in the flag-burning decision, Texas versus Johnson, 1989, if there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that the government may not prohibit the expression of idea simply because it finds it offensive or disagreeable. Third, the government generally may not discriminate against speech based on its content or viewpoint. The Supreme Court articulated this clearly in Chicago Police Department versus Mosley, 1972. Public forum doctrine and your right to speak at public meetings. I will continue with the second part of the article next time, given my time constraints. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Mr. Kevin Dorsey, welcome.
Good evening. Going to talk about water. At first I thought it was just me. The last couple of water bills have been doubled. Literally I paid 3 bills over $1,000 for water. And consumption really hasn't gone up. I've been in my house, 20 years. So I had the water department come out, no leaks. Had my sprinkler system come out, no leaks. I was just wondering, have we just reaped a benefit of 4 meters previously? And with this change of the meters, are we now being accurately billed? Has anyone taken a look into that? Just how bad were the previous meters if they were registering only at a 50% ratio to what these current meters, considering you may have the adequate reading and pricing? How bad were they before? Or is it just bad now? And again, in 20 years, I've had the same consistency and no huge double or triple amount since the meters were changed. I thought it was something that I was doing, but I've heard from so many people, even in the room today, that they've seen their water bill double as well. So just seems a little bit of an oddity here. At least if there's a purpose for us to accept this, there could be some type of information to share on just how poorly the previous water meters were registering and the accuracy in these. Because with that huge disparity, it just leads you to believe which one is correct, current, or the previous. That's not just.
Thank you so much. And you connected with the finance
Absolutely.
department?
Yeah.
Okay, and they looked at your consumption, and your consumption was the same for both bills?
But if you look at the current bills, the ones that the hike has been, there is an increased consumption. But again, my point is, if you look at all the way back before the change in the meter.
So it wasn't picking up all of the water?
It told me that that is correct, that the previous meters were registering poor, and that there's been some type of study or testing of that to prove that to be the case. And that, yes, now, hey, for 20 years, you may have your water bill versus now currently with the new meter, you just can't go. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
I can make a brief comment on that. The technology in the water meters has improved, and so it's capturing more of the low flow of, every toilet flush, every, time your sink is running. It's capturing more of the low flow water usage than the previous meters were at an older technology. So I can't say if the old meters were bad, they were functioning as they were designed to function, but now we have greater accountability of the water used.
Thank you. I don't have anybody else who signed up for public comment, so I'm going to go ahead and ask. Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome.
That's why. If I have to take that sheet.
You're welcome to
Thank
come
you
up
for
and
inviting me.
introduce yourself.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, and I'm sorry. He's getting here. Thanks, Mr. Brunke. Welcome.
I think, for the record, as a Marine Corps veteran and as a pastor, Doyle, O-Y-O-E, Landry, L-A-N-D, David, R-Y, and I was late for the topic that I had 4 minutes and 45 seconds to speak on. So this is today sometimes, and it's also the reason why I continue to talk about elderly residents here in Flossmoor and mental health. So with the property tax bills of which you as a body have no jurisdiction of, I'm wondering, especially with 2 candidates running for mayor, when are you going to invite Assessor Craig Kagi to Flossmoor to explain how these tax bills are affecting not only my fellow veterans, but particularly, again, elderly residents who retired within the last 20 years with a fixed income, whose tax bills are outpacing their retirement funds, because it is not fair that we are abandoning a generation that did not gamble, that did not bank on technology, who worked every day to feed their families ethically, while the way we live in our younger years affect how they are living in their retirement years. So again, as a clinical social worker, and having to cut short an appointment with a Flossmoor elderly veteran who's taking behavioral health medicine for the first time in her, because anxiety and depression is real. So I want that to be a focus, because this is now a holiday time. And regardless if it's Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas, or even if I'm an atheist, time, daylight affects individuals' thinking and how they believe they have a place on this earth. and suicide is increasing amongst elderly residents. Again, it looks different in terms of mental health for elderly, but for those of us who are social workers in the room, mental health is real. So not only would it be ideal if you brought in the current assessor, again, property tax, but also the current president of NAMI. She's recognized in the current Cranes, well, in the last month, a Crane Chicago Business Best Healthcare Heroes, or individuals who are doing their best. And again, she's available. I'm not speaking for her, I'm not her agent. But again, to discuss again how NAMI Illinois, based here in Chicago, has resources to address mental health as it relates to the elderly. Because again, from an age standpoint, I will be there in the next generation. It's my hope that somebody will advocate for me in my 70s as I'm advocating now for those who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and beyond. Because again, front page and very detailed as to how property taxes are affecting local businesses and the other areas that I'm choosing not to get into for time constraints. So with that being said, bringing it home, if you remember what I continue to speak about as it relates to mental health, I want to lose the last 30 seconds of my time allotment to hopefully advocate for discussion tonight as to what really occurred in the park. Because I'm sure there are residents that literally saw what occurred in the park in terms of the damage. But sometimes we don't want to get involved for fear of retribution. So if we're going to be honest, in Flossmoor going into 2025, as Oprah says, you cannot fix what you will not fix.
Thank you, Mr. Landry. Fritz Katie came to Homewood a couple months ago, and we pushed that out through our channels here in Flossmoor. And then also, if you do know somebody with tax bill questions, I find that Sam Brown, the assessor in Rich Township, is super helpful. I don't know, can't think of the assessor's name in Bloom Township off the top of my head. But if you live in Rich Township, Sam Brown is really helpful. And he also has a petition on change.org that he's going to be presenting to the governor. I'll be pushing that out this week on social, so watch for that. Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion?
Are you asking if there's anything to be pulled off? Number 2, which is approval of the minutes of the meeting held on November 18, 2024.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve items number 3 and 4 on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you so much. Clerk Bravo, will you please call the roll?
Trustee Rosalind Scott?
Yes.
Trustee Daggett?
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll?
Yes.
Trustee Lofton?
Yes.
Trustee Marchose absent. Trustee Mustafa? Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting held on November 18, 2024?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you so much. Trustee Mustafa, since you asked to pull this off, I'll start with you.
Thank you. In order to be really clear about what I will express this evening, I went to the HF Chronicle YouTube channel and watched the meeting from 11/18 probably 12 or more times. Fortunately, the Chronicle has chosen to share these videos with the public, and although the sound is not as clear as it would be if it was a Zoom meeting, it helped me to understand what I will now comment on. So I confirmed that there are several key pieces of information that are missing from the portion of the meeting that includes my questions to Director Colonel Estelle and his responses. I asked Director Estelle what was being done intentionally to reduce overtime or avoid assigning officers to back-to-back shifts. Director Estelle responded, "Not much," and then voiced support and trust in both Acting Chief Taylor and Commander Timothy Felkins. Director Estelle explained that by the time he and Acting Chief Taylor received the assignments, they trust Commander Felkins' judgment. These comments regarding the manner in which overtime is managed and this important relationship among command staff has been left out of the minutes. Secondly, the minutes omit any reference to the concerns voiced by Director Estelle about overtime and the fact that officers can work back-to-back shifts with only a few hours in between, or at times, no hours in between. I directed a statement to Director Estelle, quote, "You personally don't have any concerns about safety when an officer is stressed or working those kinds of hours?" Director Estelle responded, I quote, "Oh, definitely I have a concern. If we had more officers to pull from that pool, maybe we wouldn't have to cross that bridge so often, but it's definitely a concern." I am unable to approve these minutes as written. The summary of my interchange with Director Estelle omits the working relationship among command related to overtime assignments and does not include Director Estelle's concerns about overtime. I am unable to approve these minutes as written. The summary of my interchange with Director Estelle omits the working relationship among command related to overtime assignments and does not include Director Estelle's concerns about overtime and the small number of officers who work extra hours. I believe the board, the administration, and residents should be able to look back on these minutes to reference the questions and answers that are missing.
Thank you, Trustee Mustafa. The minutes aren't meant to be a transcript of what has occurred at the village board meeting. They're to give you the intention of the discussion, not a word for word though. And I also think that our Director of Police Services, Mr. Estelle, also said that the number of times that this actually occurs where they're working a back-to-back or they have just a shift in between, working two shifts is a rare occurrence. It doesn't happen very often.
That is expressed in the minutes, and I certainly understand the summary. I commend Clerk Lagalbo for always creating very, very comprehensive minutes. There are 15 pages, so I understand you cannot put every detail. But the profound nature of what is missing omits concerns of a director who was hired to help point out where concerns exist. And if the director can't be quoted, or at least can't be summarized, then his expertise is being dismissed, and I can't approve minutes which do that.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from any of the other trustees?
I would say in summary, that would be accurate. I don't have any additional comments to add to that, but the direction of the questions was to a point to understand exactly the personnel concerns and the safety that was pointed out as being high concern for the village. So I think it is important that we underscore those comments.
Thank you. Any other comments?
You know, to my mind, as it says, transcript, you kind of went off on a tangent on that, because the discussion wasn't about overtime hours for the officers, it was about the break-ins. It's really tangential to that, it really does not belong in a deal. But your comments are noted. I think they're fine as a transcript. What was said, you said it's on, you watched the YouTube of it 15 times.
No, I didn't say 15, I said at least 12 or more.
12 or more. I don't know anybody who's got that much time on their hands, but, you know, it's a transcript. I think you're picking at the bones here. It's good to go. I would vote to approve as voted by Clerk Rosalind.
Trustee Driscoll, I have to say that I respect the comments of every board member, but to comment on how much free time I have is really outside of the scope of this conversation.
Well, if you're going to watch your comments 12 times, that seems to pick over this particular interchange more than maybe the interchange was worth.
I direct you to the YouTube when you have free time and see how important the conversation was about overtime. Director Estelle was very clear. He said, only as I have concerns. I would not dismiss that.
Thank you. There are no other comments. Clerk O'Donnell, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Montrose is absent. Trustee Mustafa.
No.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
No.
Motion passes.
No, but no. It requires 4 positive votes. In this instance, 5 they are not.
I apologize. Mayor Nelson.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. We do not have any action items or other discussion items. I'm sorry. Reports of committees, commissions, and boards. I need a motion to table the adoption of the Community Relations Commission purpose and intent due to some changes, some thoughtful changes that they'd like to make.
So, second.
Thank you so much. If there's no discussion, we should for tabling it. Clerk O'Donnell, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Driscoll.
No question or comments?
Vote.
Oh, just yes.
Yes, I'm tabling it. Okay.
Trustee Lofton.
Yes.
Trustee Montrose is absent. Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Bradley Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. No action items or other discussion items. We're going to go into a closed session. But before we move into a closed session, I'd like to call for other business. First up, Trustee Mustafa.
I again would like to thank the Flossmoor Police Department. There has been a lot, to say the least, on their plate. And I commend the working relationship with the command staff and all that they're doing to serve the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Bradley Scott.
I wanted to bring up one of the events that occurred last Sunday. Mayor Nelson, that you were part of putting together at a church here in Flossmoor. I think the event was very nice. It was very well done. It was really nice to see the community come together in such a way. However, it was missing from the board package in terms of the events that are happening in town. And so my question was, in terms of it being a village event or a mayoral event, if someone could clarify exactly what that was in terms of who sponsored the events.
There was no sponsorship, but I worked with local pastors and faith leaders to put this event together, and it was actually in Homewood at All Nations Church, Community Church in Homewood.
Sure.
And it was part of a 52-year tradition.
Sure, it was great. Like I said, it was a great event. It was very welcoming and bringing everyone together. But it was noted on the program that it was sponsored by one of the supporters was the Village of Flossmoor. So I am just making sure that as a candidate for mayor, I was told that the village and the mayor seat could not commingle. And so based on the display of what occurred in the program, it stated that it was a village event. So I want to highlight that because of the separation that I was told needed to happen. So
Sure. This is something I've done for the past 3 years. This is something I've done as a representative of the Village of Flossmoor, so it's something that I continue to do, and I'm very proud of it as well. So thank you. I'm glad I'm there.
So I'm just underscoring in terms of the separation between the business, church, and state, because it was highlighted.
It's not a mayor. It's not a mayor event.
Okay.
Thank you. It's a community event, and it was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Do you have anything else? Thank you so much. Trustee Daggett.
Yes, I was speaking with Director John Brunke in regards to the detention basin, because we had a discussion some meetings back about the grade getting that checked. So I was talking with him, and he actually had an update, so if it was okay, I was going to ask if he could share the update on what they found, what engineering found, and kind of what the next steps are for that.
Yeah, the contractor provided the required topography as-built for the bottom of the basin. It is not correct, so they're going to be fixing that probably next week, early next week. Once we have a date, we'll let the board know and everybody. They were out there this past Saturday doing some punch list items. They were there today, and those fences, they're fixing some fence sections that had settled from some of the trenches that had settled, so they repaired those settlements on Saturday. But next week, we're going to be working on the bottom of the basin. There is a regrading work to be done to remove that water basically that's sitting down there. So it is an issue, and we're aware of it. After they submitted the as-built, then they have to go down there and fix it. So, and we are still holding quite a bit of money to the tune of over $300,000 on the job. So more than enough to cover any work that they need to do down there. So we're in good shape. So we'll be continuing that and getting that completed before we pay them out.
Okay, thank you. And also in our discussion, you had mentioned that they're going to let the school know when that equipment will be coming in to do the work.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. The school will be on notice when we have a date and stuff that they're going to be down there. It's probably going to be a couple of days of work, I imagine. So,
okay, awesome, thank you. And then one thing I actually owe Acting Chief Taylor an apology. Last meeting, I misspoke and said Deputy Chief Taylor, and respect is due. So Acting Chief Taylor, I'm sorry for that misstep. I just want to publicly correct myself. So that's it.
Thank you. Trustee Griswold.
No questions or comments?
Thank you. Trustee Walton.
I just want to comment on the downtown lights. I've had several people say how beautiful our downtown looks, so we should be very proud of that. The public works just put their foot into that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Lugano.
I would like to address the minutes really quickly. I know we already voted on them, but I do get in trouble sometimes because I add a lot to the minutes, and I probably should summarize more than what I do. So I just want to add that. I know I'm not perfect, and I do make mistakes, but I do recall that conversation being just partially about what Trustee Mustafa mentioned. I also listened to the recording of the board meeting many, many times. I spend many hours on the minutes in addition to my full-time job. So I obviously, because it's not a transfer, I don't include everything. Obviously, regarding what you said, it turned into a discussion about Director Stella's job description, so I think your comments went beyond what the minutes were about. You mentioned Commander Filkin's name. I'm fairly certain that Commander Filkin's name was not mentioned during the presentation. So I'm going to go back through the minutes and follow up on that with the board because I want to make sure that it's all taken care of. Thank you.
Commander Phillips' name was mentioned in the context of Director Estelle and Acting Chief Taylor trusting him.
There was a range mentioned, there was no name.
Thank you. Village Attorney, welcome back. Please.
I do have a report that is report that is I'm sorry. I said thank you for welcoming me back. My report will be an executive session. It's with regard to pending litigation and real estate matters. And so I will have my report. I do not think my report, I will not ask for any action after that in this particular meeting. I want to give the board time to receive the information and go to the subsequent meeting on any matters
that require it.
Thank you so much. Village Manager O'Connor.
Thank you. I'll just add to Trustee Laughlin's comments about the downtown holiday lights. They are beautiful. We have a few employees down in Public Works who take great pride in putting these up every year, and we painstakingly work on not only the trees, but also the tree that's lit on Small Business Saturday. And want to thank the whole team down at Public Works for their work on making the season festive here in Flossmoor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Want to congratulate Sergeant Mark Tagle. He just graduated from the Executive Management Program at Northwestern University's Center for Public Safety. So please pass along my congratulations to him and thanks to him for continuing his education on that. Really appreciate his time. Thanks in addition to all the kudos for Public Works. Also want to thank all the staff and the community partners for everything that they put into the holiday lights on Saturday night. To get 300 plus people out on a night that was that cold is no small feat. So as I said, I think we like each other. We had a great time. Just a reminder to shop small businesses. Even though Small Business Saturday is over with, they still are depending on your support. So tell 10 friends to please remember to shop locally. We've got everything from gifts for four-legged people to two-legged people. So please support our local business owners. They add a ton of vibrance to not only our village year-round, but also our events. I want to thank the Finance Department for working so hard to modernize our services. They've got a lot of projects teed up. The first one that's coming out this next spring is being able to get vehicle stickers and pet tags online. So that's very exciting. Thank you so much, Director Novoa. And then also coming up in the future is going to be daily parking passes online, which will be a real treat not having to come in. So we love saying hi to Lavonda and all the ladies up front, but it'll be nice to have that online as well. That's part of the future plans. A lot of stuff happening with economic development. More updates for you at the next meeting. Last week I met with the Meyer Broker. They have a few outlets by their store, and they were very happy to hear about new developments, Dunkin' Donuts and Rainbow Cone, and then a project that we're going to be talking about this evening, and hopefully the next meeting as well. So that's encouraging. They're going to start pushing their outlets and to see what interest that they can get there. Last week, Village Manager Wachtell and I and Director Becker met with a group about restaurant space and outdoor entertainment space on Governor's Highway. So we're just going to keep plugging away and working hard on all of that. And stay tuned. There's more great things ahead. So if nothing else, I'm going to ask Clerk Galvo. I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn to executive. A motion to move to executive session to discuss to discuss the sale of village property and litigation.
So moved. Second.
Thank you so much. Clerk Galvo, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Lockton.
Yes.
Trustee Rosalind Mustafa. Trustee Mustafa.
Yes.
Trustee Reddy Scott.
Yes.
Trustee Daggett.
Yes.
Trustee Driscoll.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Feel free to stay. We're going to move into the other room. But like Village said, after we get back from closed session, we're going to straight adjourn. So if you're not here when we get back, thank you so much, and I hope you have a festive next couple of weeks with everything.